All right, guys. Today we're gonna talk about the beginning of the Brookhaven Tennis Academy with you guys. We have Coach Dave here, so he's gonna, walk us through what happened on the first day, on that first day, and we just want to know how it began, how everything began. So obviously, you had to park somewhere, you had to come in somewhere. So tell us what happened on that first day and how this academy evolved, Dave.
Yeah, October 11th, 1993. I remember coming in. I was living in Allen. My wife and I were in a rent house, sharing a rent house with her mom and dad. We had a 3 and 1 year old at the time, and we stayed in one room, all of us. And actually, the church we went to donated a car, so I'd have a car to get here. I'd put oil in the car to get here and oil in the car to get back. No air conditioning. That's what I remember first. But I remember driving in. I'd been to Brookhaven many times, obviously been here to interview with Billy Freer and see if this is where we wanted to spend our future. And but I pulled in, and I remember parking back over behind the Climate Court building. Nothing really looked as it looks right now. There were only a couple of coaches here. There were no academies in Dallas. There were junior programs, but the concept of the academy was really foreign to Texas for the most part, other than news. Yeah, and we'll take a little walk down. We're seeing this, what many people called the barn. I think the barn should be renamed, but maybe it shouldn't. Maybe the barn is the history of it. But it used to kind of look like a big barn. Now it's had new paint and a lot of improvements, and it's a covered building that is not climate controlled, but it allows us to train without interruption. Very, very lucky to have that building. Inside here, there's 8 courts if you count the regulation singles ball machine court, and then there's also 4 pickleball courts. So yeah, we'll walk down here, but that wasn't quite as fancy in the early stages in the beginning. Spent a lot of time out here. Used to primarily teach outdoors. We'll go all the way down to the end and take a walk through our new area. Every time I'm outside, it's almost like I'm not even on the club that I began at 32 years ago in October. It's such a different layout, and everything is so shiny and new. And nothing really looked like this back then. We had a bank of 4 courts. We'll go over here to a court that I kind of lived on most of my life here, which used to be court 4. Now, as I said, it's been renumbered. Now it's court 5. A lot of balls being hit this morning. You can see the academy out here. Coach Jaime with a small group of 8. Coach Dion doing an amazing job doing basket training with a group of kids. But this area here is just beautiful to be out here coaching tennis. As we walk in here, you'll see the pavilion, which, when I walk under it, obviously there's a lot of memories. Billy Freer. That's who I came in and met with, years ago. Shook hands, made a partnership out of it. Billy passed away from cancer a few years ago, and the club was very proactive in giving Billy the credit for all of the hard work and the years he put in here, managing the club and being the director of racket sports. So the Billy Freer Pavilion, it's great to see his name up there, to remember his legacy and all that he did for the club. He was a great player, by the way, from South Africa, one of the best in the country. Beat the #1 team in the world at Wimbledon on center court in doubles. Had some fluke injuries, ended up kind of breaking his back. a couple other major injuries that sidelined his career. But he was a heck of a player. Played Rod Laver. He was up a set in 4-1, I believe, on Kenny Rosewall. Billy could really play. Ferocious temper. The guy used to, you always knew where he was on the court emotionally. Here you'll see, you know, a bank of these courts, going the kids jogging, picking up balls. That's something from the point of origin. That's been kind of a guideline and a rule here with, you know, when kids pick up balls, just jog in 2 or 3 in each hand, jog them back. So you get your cardio in, you get some sprint and explosiveness in. When I first started here, there were only a couple of coaches, so about a month into it, I contacted Coach Dion and said, Dion, I really, really need your expertise, your leadership. Coach Dion, as he's out there in the blue, you'll see him. The Academy wouldn't be here today without him. He's been a primary force in the driving of these kids every single day. And yeah, he was the first addition to the staff. And it's interesting to see how, you know, it's gone from a couple of coaches just overall in the club to now 26 coaches from 4 different continents, and hundreds of kids. So we're really proud of it, and the growth. Over here to my left, this used to be Court 4. Court 4 I lived on. The Billyford Pavilion wasn't here. It was just this old kind of gazebo area that was really beaten up. But when I stand here, I have so many memories that are incredible about so many milestones in my life. But I taught out here, and you know, if it wasn't raining, I was pretty much on Court 4. And I remember vividly, you know, because my dogs used to come out here. I brought my dogs out here and I put a baby gate up. And this was kind of enclosed with fence area, and the dogs would sit out here with us. And my wife would pick them up. Court 4, I remember some you know, being on the court and getting some news on my mom that she was very ill. There's been so many champions that have been built right out here, spending countless hours. I think that you know, I could speak for hours about so many of the kids that have paid their dues out here in really cold, severe weather, brutal heat. But yeah, it looks so much different out here. Every day when I come out here, it's kind of like I'm in a new facility to come and coach tennis at, but yet with the history and the memories of Brookhaven. Very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. We teach the kids to have that attitude of gratitude, and I think that it's important for coaches, parents, players, everybody to maintain that attitude of gratitude. The very first t-shirt that we had, we made, you know, we handed out t-shirts. We did a better job of that in the past than in the present, but in the old days, you know, it would have been common to see pretty much every kid in a Brookhaven t-shirt. We still give them away at the beginning, but we used to give them away every month, and I promise you couldn't travel in this city too far after years 4, 5, 6 without seeing a Brookhaven t-shirt somewhere, in a grocery store, in a restaurant. They were just everywhere. And I think we need to get back to that. Not to market, but just to get that kids to have that sense of pride, that sense of community that they need. We'll head over into the what they call the barn. Yeah, it's amazing to walk through the facility like that. See the changes, to see the physical improvements that the club has made. Gone to truly one of the premier racket clubs in the United States. Good morning. It's a rare thing to be able to have a career path where you're waking up in the morning and you're able to kind of live your dream in terms of being involved in something that you really love, and to go every day, pull up here, get to coach the sport of tennis, which has been a lifelong love affair for me. Sometimes I have to pinch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming. So in here, this building looked nothing like this. Right now we would be standing, 2 years ago, this was all a big kind of structure right here that had a glass viewing area up top. And it was really kind of a cool building. It was certainly old and run down. And there was a little storage area about right where I'm standing. And I thought, well, I'm pretty much on the court all the time. I need accessibility for a little bit of an office here. And even though we have a nice office across the street, converted that into a little office. And there were a couple of video rooms as you walk down what was a hallway here. A couple of video rooms here that we used for video analysis. And then we had a big storage area for our teaching aids. And again, as I walk through it, I still feel kind of like you feel like you have hair still sometimes when you're balding. I can still feel my hair sometimes. And when I walk through here, I still feel like that building is here. But we took the building out, that little structure. Now we have totally redone this area. They've converted four pickleball courts out of what actually used to be my secondary kind of home. I mentioned court 4 outside, this court 9. Again, when I think of memories, I think of how many hours Ashlyn Kruger put in on this court. Just hour after hour. And how many Saturday mornings. I remember there was just a routine with these few kids, Izzy Flodine, Ashlyn Kruger, Alex Cairo. And they had this little small group that would kind of combine on Saturday mornings right there. And again, there was a little bit of an area space here where I used to occasionally bring my dogs out and tie them up. And the dogs were kind of fun because Charlie and Baxter were a little bit of a calming mechanism for me, but also for, I think, the kids and the parents. They became kind of academy mascots. But yeah, as we walk by this court to my left at Coach Travis, Coach Travis has been actually a part of this since the beginning. He was in our early childhood program since he was 5. Went on to become a national champion at Washington, at Wash U, one of the best D3 programs in America. But as I walk by this court, again, I've watched so many matches. We used to hold the Rolex, ITA, or NCAA indoor individual championships. I watched Bob and Mike Ryan lose right there back when we held that. We held it for 3 years, I believe it was, in the 90s. So all the best college teams in America would bring their players that qualified. And we also held this big tournament called the Cotton Bowl. And it used to be a pretty good junior event as well. We had this boy in the program, Max Stevens, who was very talented, top handful in America. But I remember watching Max Stevens play Ryan Harrison, who went on to be a top player in the world. And I remember Ryan Harrison out here. He was probably 9 years old, lived in Shreveport, drove over, and Ryan Harrison diving for balls, and I remember he frustrated or whatever, but he almost like wiping tears and then just continuing to battle and attack. every court, I can picture some memories of watching kids do something either in training or in a tournament or you know, and I hope Brookhaven in the future, I hope we have a lot more junior events and special events like we did with the, you know, the Rolex tournament. Yeah, here's a group of young kids. Coach Dia over in the center area, his younger brother. He got connected to us through his younger brother who joined the program. Just a new generation of coaches. Think of all the different coaches that have been through here over the years. We have that Academy alumni wall, which shows all of the college players. It would be fun to have a coaching wall to show just all of the people that have kind of gained some experience in coaching, been a part of our history here. So many of them are in the community now running great programs throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In fact, I think you could pretty much name a club and there's some connection either there currently or there is someone who was there that is a part of the program. I was at a junior team tennis match yesterday at Dallas Country Club, and sure enough, Valentina Starkova from Kazakhstan was coaching and running programs down there, and she got a significant amount of her training while she was in college here. A friend of former pro Marco Venahome. The week before that, 2 weeks before that, similar situation at another neighboring club, and a former student and coach that was now located there. It's just almost every facility, there's some sort of branch that has gone off and spread. And that's really the whole idea, is to you know, train good coaches, and then if they do go out and spread their wings, hopefully they can create their own tree with their own branches. So that's kind of the history of this building. This is my favorite place on the facility, really. Because it's not really too shiny yet. It's been improved a lot, but it's not the shiniest of buildings. So much better aesthetically than it was 2 years ago, but I kind of like the old one. Now we're missing a little bit of the dust and the dirt, and another really one of my favorite parts of the club, this ball machine. And you know, it's a regulation singles court. I was talking to Craig Carden one day, who is a legendary coach out on the WTA tour for years, spent a decade with Martina Navratilova, but Craig grew up here at Brookhaven. Prior to, obviously, we're the same age-ish, and his family lived right across the golf course from us. But he was telling me about when he was a kid, the games he used to play on the ball machine court, kind of where everything was good. You could play anything, kind of like wall ball almost. But this machine, I've always loved teaching next to it. And I remember when I came here, I ran some free clinics to try to stimulate interest, and one of them was called Practicing Practice. And because there's an art to using a ball machine effectively, and I think that when I teach beside it all day, only a small percentage of people really use it well, and when you use it properly and then you're working on the right things, you'll get better quicker. But sometimes if you don't do that, you're getting better at getting worse, and you got to be really careful with that. But yeah, so this covered building right here, you know, the court in here, we try to leave space open so that we're always in harmony with the adult stuff. And this is my home right here. So yeah, you know, it's funny, I spend a lot of time right here in this particular area and kind of try to run the program from inside here. I try not to get in the sun much anymore. Had a little scare with melanoma, but all's good. But this is just kind of an office, a training court, a classroom. It's all of the above. And you'll see a couple of kids here that are both coming off injury, Wes and Manuel, just working on some reps together. We do a lot of work on the TV over there to show people different things. I like to always just have matches going. I don't have that going right now, but putting on matches in a few minutes, I'll flip on and it'll be the Madrid Open. Tomorrow, great match with Ashlyn Kruger playing with Azarenka. They're going up against Coco Gauff and Robin Montgomery. It'll be a great quarterfinal matchup there for Ashlyn to try to get to the semis. And you know, the history of it, Ashlyn won the US Open Juniors, and then she also won the girls 18s nationals with Robin Montgomery. And they played a bit on the tour early on, so it'll always be fun to see people on the other side of the net and the history. And should be a great match. I hope you're able to tune in and watch that. But yeah, this court right here, I can tell you I've seen a lot of sunrises from the tennis court. Most days out of the 7 each week, I've watched the sunrise from the tennis court. In here I don't get to actually see it rise, but I see the sun coming out from underneath the curtains. And it's an amazing facility. It's like anything, you have to go through a lot of challenge to get to where you want to go. 32 years in October, I would say we're about 60, maybe 65% of the way that kind of the vision of where I think this could go. Been blessed to be around great coaches like not only Dion, but Coach Andreas, and behind the scenes, and people with similar vision that want to go to a very special place. So yeah, just a little bit of history for you. We'll take you out next time over towards the clay court area. It'd be tough to get in there right now. I think they're watering, but there were no clays when I got here. And Billy Freer had a vision and wanted clay, and they were cracked old hard courts. I mean, there were cracks in there that were just really significant. And that's where I used to teach in the evenings because there was so much league play for adults. So I remember teaching privates over there from like 7 to 9, 7 to 10 at night in the early days. But now it's a beautiful clay court area, and about to even be prettier because we're getting all new LED lighting and new poles. And we just got new clay. Like I said, very lucky, huh? To be able to come to work in a tennis player's version of Disneyland, Disney World. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a tour and a little bit of the history. We've had some amazing stories here. Many of them aren't the ones that made the front page. They're people whose lives were changed through the sport of tennis, through the environment here. And you know, I always tell people we're not perfect. We make mistakes all the time, but we're not really chasing perfection. We're chasing a dream, chasing excellence. So come on out and visit us. Hope to see you on the courts.